Oh, all right, everybody. You know what? Recently I just did a book. I think it was shit. I forgot what it was. Oh, I'm such a half-ass. Um, it was in the Torah though. I'll try to put it on. I think I'll be able to find it once I upload it and look at the playlist. But anyways, and this is probably like a repetition of some of the stuff that I've said, but yeah, no, I was just thinking about it, and it's really interesting. Um, um, so like this is what happens, right? So I need to teach you guys how to read, I guess. Um, but basically, he prophesies about this time in the future, right? So there's this prophecy that he's doing about this time in the future, and he talks about a time of righteousness, right? That's going to happen in the future, right? Now before this, he's lamenting, right? He's lamenting. Um, about the time, about the unrighteousness of the people. Um, there's this one scene where he's gonna go um, and pray, and and it kind of seems there's like this hint that he just wants to get away from like the people because they disgust him, and there's this Charles Bukowski, American poet, great American poet, and he said, sometimes, or he says, he feels more lonely around people than he does when he's by himself, right? And this isn't like an anti-human thing. I think this is just simply the result of a world that's had its development arrested. So if you have your development arrested, then you can have adults behaving like children. Anyways, what am I talking about right now? Let's see. Fuck. Okay, I don't know how I got there, but going back. Unrighteousness. Unrighteousness, yeah, so he just wants to get away from these people. That's right, that's where I was going with that. He just wants to get away from it. It seems like there's like hints, maybe, I think. But their response is, oh, when you coming back? When you coming back? And it's like he's critical of how they're behaving, because when he, like, how does he portray himself when he sees an angel or when he sees God? He gets down on his face on the ground, and God says, stand up on your feet and then I'll talk to you, or the angel places them on their feet. So if you look at how these people are behaving, it's like they can't be on their own 2 feet unless this guy's around. They're treating him like a god or something, right? And they're acting very pathetically. They're unrighteous. Um, and so that's what the prophecy is all about. He's like, there's this time in the future where there will be a time of righteousness. I think Enoch has this beautiful thing in this book where he goes over the history of the Jews, right? But he's getting everything wrong, right? Or he's just changing it around. But what he's actually doing is he's prophesying. Like that's his actual prophecy. It's hidden. The prophecy's hidden within the text, right? And he does the same thing. There's going to be this time where the floodgates open up, and They'll wash over the world. Uh, so that's where this discussion comes from. And I was thinking about this because I had to set this all up. I wasn't thinking about all that, but the discussion that he starts to have with God, right? Um, I mean, the portrayal of himself as this guy who gets down on his face when he sees God, is not the man that's writing this text. The man that's writing this text, if he sees God, he's going to walk up, snap him on the back, and say, "Hey, what's up, brother?" Um, but he's portraying himself as that's how he's portraying himself in this unrighteous state. Um, but it's in this discussion that you can see the real person that's writing this, right? It's in this discussion, and this comes down to this idea of the saved, right? Because during this time of righteousness, those are the saved. You know, they're saved from the punishment of Adam, which is toil and drudgery, monotony. Um, and and he's harping on this, right? So like that's the first thing. It's like this discussion of the saved has nothing to do with Christian theology. You know, this discussion of the saved has to do with the people during the time of righteousness. And he keeps harping on it, right? He keeps asking and asking and asking this question over and over again because it really gets to him. And that's where you can really see who this man who's writing this is. It's in this discussion that he's having. And he's basically saying, how is that fair? How is that fair? He's asking why do they deserve to be saved? And I'm living in a time of a bunch of bitches. Um, so you could probably see some loneliness in the guy, right? Um, but like, yeah, you have to go. I think, and this is where I think I'm going like deeper into the discussion. But the way that I see this discussion being framed is that he doesn't think that during the time of righteousness, these righteous people will even deserve uh, that righteousness. Why do they get to be saved? You know, he's attributing that salvation solely to um, God's will, rather than the merit of the people at the time. And I could be wrong in all this, but to me, this is all. It was really interesting when I was reading it. I was just like, because this guy's he's questioning the justice of his God. Like this is a man who's staring his God in the face and saying, "Who are you? You know, how is this fair?" Um, Yeah, and I'd have to read it again because at the time I was reading it, I would, it's kind of shocking to see this man. I mean, that's why I love reading books, especially books of the past, because um, I mean, each author can, they say all the world's a stage, right? Um, each author is an actor, and it's like who is the real person that is writing this, right? Who is the real man or woman behind all this pageantry of words? Um, and you start to really see this guy. He's wrestling with his God, as they would say. Um, he's he's struggling to understand, you know, and I was just focused on I guess his aspect, but I guess I need to read it again to really see what God had to say in the whole matter. Um, because oftentimes God's behavior in these texts is kind of silly and childlike, um, or psychotic and insane, maybe. I don't know. But I think this is a loving God. Um, but yeah, no. I guess that's it.